Can everybody hear me okay in the back?
How about now? Yeah, you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, we've tried a couple different things with this mic. I don't want to get a crick in my neck by having to do this all night, but how about now? Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. First of all, thank you for coming to the VFW 3081 Auxiliary Meet Your Candidate Night here at the Senior Center. I want to thank certainly the Ladies Auxiliary for hosting this event and for the Senior Center for having us here. I want to thank you all in the community who are coming to support these kind of events and engage in our republic. And ultimately, I want to thank the candidates for sticking their neck out there in politics and also coming to face the public in these moments. There's a few things tonight, if you've been to these in the past, that we're actually going to do a little differently. And hey, you know, we wanted to try to add some extra value, so we're going to try some things that's different than traditionally you'd see a candidate come up, offer their spiel, sit back down, and you would do that throughout the night and maybe some questions at the end. We're going to try to do this more interactive. We've asked for questions from the community, both online, and we have a chance for each of you here to put questions in. Now, that's time permitting. We're going to try to keep this thing running. I'm going to try to be the conductor and make sure we're on time. But a couple ways you can get questions in if you're here in person. One of those is you see these QR codes on the wall. If you're fancy and technical enough, you can take a picture, you know, put your phone up there, go to that site, and you see a form. If you're much more pen and paper style, back on the back table there is you see Megan and Heather, and you can go back there and they'll be able to coordinate your question. And then at the end of the cycle through the candidates, time permitting, we'll ask those questions. Okay? Let's see, a couple of things to note. We're trying to be fair tonight, so we're going to try to make sure we give equal time to candidates within an office. And we've already talked to all the candidates. They have absolutely, we did a blood pact. They have committed to taking care of each other's time, not to talk over one another. This is not a debate. There are times for those. This is not one of those. This is a forum, kind of like a town hall. It gives us a chance to hear what a candidate's thinking about issues that are important to you in the county. Because we polled the county online, what are your top 3 issues? And we came out with the opioid epidemic, houselessness, and economic development. Those are the top 3. So we have questions in and around those themes for each office, okay? And so one of the things I would ask of all of us, as you see, we've got a couple of these weird little towers here. Those are video conferencing units, and this is what's helping us project both audio and video to folks that weren't able to make it tonight. Maybe they're shut-ins, maybe they're far away, maybe they just rather their easy chair instead of here. Either way, what I'll ask is that we keep secondary conversations to a minimum because that will kind of jam that all up. It'll be really hard, okay? Also, exits and stuff and all that. You see the exits. That's good. Bathrooms back behind if you need to use that in between. And yeah, am I missing anything else there, Renee, from like logistics? There's water back there.
There's bottled water. If anybody's thirsty, we'll be more than happy. Just raise your hand. I'll bring it to you.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay. Well, okay, so what we'll do is we're going to call a grouping of candidates up onto the stage here in just a moment. And those candidates will come up, we'll ask questions from each of the offices. And then at the end of that session, if you will, each candidate will be able to give kind of a last word, a closing statement that they can offer to you. But that doesn't mean maybe throughout the event, a candidate may have a response to what somebody says. And so we'll do our best audio-wise. That might be tough. So again, I've asked the candidates, they have absolutely pledged they will try to project their voice as best they can. All right? Couple things just to really note, outcomes we're looking at, we're just trying to raise the bar a little bit and bring more value out of our political cycle here locally. We've got a lot going on, a lot of challenges, a lot of opportunities, and the people you see in front of you are vying for a spot to help us advance those. So we're hoping this event gives us a clearer picture of who they are and what they're trying to do for us, and a clearer picture for them of what it is you need as a community. Outside of that, I would ask for your grace, because we're trying a lot of new stuff here all at once. We even, right off the bat, I'm going to have each candidate introduce themselves and get up here because I don't have a list of them. I don't know them. So we're going to go there. If I don't know you, no offense. All right, so let's get started. So what we're going to start with is the governor's office and both the House and Senate for the feds. Yes, sir.
Is it all right if we can say the pledge of allegiance to the flag for all the veterans and the people here?
Yes. Sure. Good catch. There you go. That's what we're going to find. Stand with me, please. We've got a flag right back there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. There we go. See, making micro adjustments along the way. Okay, so let's get back at it. Governor office, U.S. Senate, U.S. House, as well as the State Senate and State House. Let's see how.
I think you're going to be shy on chairs.
This goes down to RSVP. This is all right, hold on. Let's hold up for just a minute. What office are you running for? Governor.
Take this.
Congress. Okay, so let's have the governor sit down for a minute. Sorry, guys. We'll get you guys up next.
I'll be right back.
Yes. All right. We'll start there, and let's have the state guys hold off as well. Wait a minute, how many we got? 3 of you? 4?
State executive branch, like governor, auditor,
Yeah, but state legislator for a minute. Yeah,
commissioner of agriculture, all the state
Yeah.
executive branch, like the
yeah.
governor.
Let's hold that off.
Okay.
We'll stay with the Fed guys for just now. Yep. That makes sense. Anybody else running for the U.S. House or the U.S. Senate? All right. Awesome, gentlemen. Oh, and here we go. You're gonna pass the mic along as we go. Mookie, we'll start with you.
All right.
All right. So, question is, Taylor County, like many small communities, can only muster so many dollars and resources to solve problems that are often laid upon us by either long-gone corporations, poor governmental policy, and the like. So the recent opioid settlements, while helpful, frankly, it's just not enough to address the problems that have been created by that. So if elected, how do you plan to use federal resources to address the urgent issues of drug addiction and homelessness in Taylor County?
So should I, look at that.
Oh, so should I introduce myself first? Or
Yes,
just
please, do that.
All right, so I'm Brigadier General retired Chris Mookie Walker. I just retired after 40 years in service. I was my career culminated in me being the Assistant Adjutant General for West Virginia and the Commander of the West Virginia Air National Guard. And when I retired in October, I got this. This is one of the presents I got from one of my friends, Chip Borman, and it says, "Retired 2023, not my problem anymore." And I said, "Chip, I love you, but I can't wear this hat because what's happening in this country. I didn't spend 40 years fighting for our nation in combat in the Balkans, in Iraq, and Afghanistan to say it's not my problem anymore." So here I am running for Congress. And so to answer your question, right, there are several things. First of all, one of the things in West Virginia that has been ripped from us from this administration and from the Obama administration has been the use of our natural resources. So oil, gas, and coal. Because those are the things that actually will enrich West Virginia, and we can use those funds to actually increase the funding for education. And talking about education, by the way, I'm the chair of 3 different charter school boards across West Virginia. One is the upcoming this fall, the Clarksburg Classic Academy, but nevertheless, what we need to do is start using our resources to enrich West Virginia so that we can actually do what we want and not let the feds tell us what to do.
Perfect.
My name's Joe Early. Where's my cards at? Who do I watch?
Watch her.
Back there.
Right there. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, can you hear me in the back? Perfect. I'm gonna drop the mic for a minute. Hey, my name's Joe Early. I'm a native West Virginian. I'm a retired first sergeant, Armored Cavalry. Spent 20 years on active duty. I've deployed all over the world. I spent combat tour in Iraq during Operation Vigilant War, actually in Kuwait. Okay, non-combat action. Okay, but I've spent 2 tours in the DMZ in Korea, 1 tour in Germany, looking down Russian soldiers, and numerous stateside assignments. So I am retired Army. Okay, I have been a public servant my entire adult life. Currently, I am a federal contractor serving the federal government in cybersecurity. I'm a cybersecurity engineer. They didn't need my kind out here, I guess you could say trigger pullers. out here in the civilian world, so I transitioned over to biometrics and cybersecurity. So to answer the question, how do we use federal resources to help Taylor County? And you mentioned opioids. I, Joe Early, retired Army veteran, okay, wanting to be your representative in Congress, have been to the southern border. I've been to Eagle Pass, Texas. We have a problem. Our state is a border state. We can call it, we're geographically removed, that's fine. We're a border state. We have the highest death rate in this country, and the closest state to us is Kentucky. We're 90 in 100,000 deaths for opioid and fentanyl poisoning. The cartels are our enemy. They are financed by our adversary China, and they're making pills in Mexico. They're sending them up here to us and killing our children, killing the sons and daughters of America. I was entrusted to train and equip soldiers my entire 20 years in the Army. Okay, that is the most precious of America. Now we got to focus on Taylor County and the other 26 counties in this district. How do we do that? We secure the border. Okay, we deport. We have a 5-year moratorium on any immigration. And federal funds, we get down here without federal hooks. Without federal hooks, we get them down here and help Taylor County. You got to have grant writers in this county that actually know how to contact the feds and get that money down here to Taylor County. My name is Joe Early. You can see me on joeearly4wv.com. Thanks for your support.
I'll also skip the mic. I think I'm pretty loud. Good. My name's Zach. My name is Zach Shrewsbury. I'm running for U.S. Senate. A little bit about me. Marine Corps veteran, did 2.5 years in Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team, 2.5 years in the infantry. I got out as a sergeant, became a father while I was in. Eventually I came back home to West Virginia to take care of my grandmother. She had fallen ill. But when I got back here, I didn't like what I saw in my state. I saw an addiction crisis. I saw poverty. I saw people struggling. I wanted to do something about it. So I dived into working some political campaigns as well as community organizing. That looks like feeding the homeless across southern West Virginia, doing clean water deliveries, as well going across the state in different communities, asking people what's going on, why aren't our legislatures responding to you, where can I amplify? It's all been the same story across the board, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. It comes down to you're concerned about wages, our jobs, why are our roads falling apart, we can't take care of our kids, and we're about feeding our families. That inspired me to do something about it. After a few years now, I threw my hat in this race to run for office. So I come from these communities, I understand where we're all coming from. You don't have that in the federal office right now. You have millionaires, coal barons, people that don't listen to us, but I listen to us every day. So to answer that question, I've worked in the addiction crisis. I come from a very compassionate approach to it. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, organized on the ground. I think we need to stop throwing people in jail and start putting money into recovery programs, recovery centers across the state, help people get into recovery. Engage in Narcan, engage to save lives. Throwing people in jail and mass incarceration is not working. It's just not. When people get out, you have a record. Now you're getting out and you don't have job access, you have a record, you can't even get the few jobs we have here in West Virginia. You have to bring jobs here, bring manufacturing jobs here to stir the economy. I forgot what those color cards mean, so I'm going to keep on going until you tell me to stop. Either way, a compassionate approach is where I come from. Federally funding recovery centers and ensuring that West Virginians, our sons, daughters, and mothers are taken care of. Thank you.
My name is Brian McKinney, and most of you have never heard of me because I work in the private sector like a lot of you. I work 3 jobs. I have 6 children from the ages of 2 through 11, and I decided to run for this office after having a conversation with my oldest daughter while we were hunting groundhogs, and I was talking to her about American politics, and she stopped me and said, "Dad, you talk about all these problems and these bad people. If you were in charge, would you do the right thing?" And it really hit me, and I said, you know, I want to make sure there's a future for my children, and I want to get to the answer right away. So I've traveled around a lot of the state, and I've talked to a lot of older folks who worked in the coal industry and worked in steel, and some of these companies that are gone. And they basically told me they didn't fail. Those companies didn't fail. Government drove them out of the state. And when you were talking about like the leftover factories that are causing pollution, stuff like that, the solution isn't necessarily just for the federal government to throw money to go clean that up, but actually fix the problems in the government, the laws and the taxes that keep companies from wanting to come to West Virginia. So instead of carving out and saying, we're gonna give $10 million to this one company to come here for 5 or 10 years, we should fix the system so that companies like Honda and Ford and you know, some of these companies who are manufacturing, they wanna come to West Virginia and they wanna have people work. So the problem is that we can't ask government to fix the problem they created. We need new business opportunities and real work. And the problem is people, they're living in abject poverty in the state. And you know, they take a pill that makes them feel good for the first time in their life, and they want to keep taking that pill because that's the only thing that makes them feel good, because they don't have a job that gives them dignity and self-worth because the government has destroyed the state. And so asking for the federal government to give us money to fix that is not the solution. It's new jobs, in my opinion. So, thank you.
Gentlemen, we'll each give you 1 minute to have your kind of closing words. What's the last thing you want to say to the people here and online?
All right, folks, 1 minute. I want to say that also that I have been on the board of one of the recovery centers, and I want to reiterate what he's talking about, because some of those folks you would never ever guess are addicts. Even in the West Virginia Air National Guard, one of our officers who we were grooming for leadership, we found out when we have these mandatory urinalyses, one person called us up at headquarters and said, he wants me to do his P-test for him. And we said, what? And when we confronted him, it's because he was hooked too. He didn't want to say anything. We said, what? If you had said something, we would have helped you. But again, it's a three-pronged approach. Keep the kids from even touching it, recovery centers, and interdiction. And that's what we can do on the fed level to help all of this.
I'll continue that, that's all good stuff, but first thing we gotta do is we have to stop the flow of this fentanyl poisoning. The terrorists, the cartels are terrorism. They are attacking America, they're attacking the fabric of our nation, okay? We are in an asymmetric war. They're hitting all of our touch points, education, okay? They're hitting our churches. They are hitting the economy, healthcare. The communists are in the United States, now they're in bureaucracies. We've got to purge that out of here and get America back to where it was when we loved our country. Because right now there's so much divisiveness in our country that it's because we're not working together. We got to see America and the ideals of America and the American idea, the American dream has got to be put back in place. And the only way we're going to do that is elect people up and down the ballot that can be trusted, who's not going somewhere to be your leader. You don't need a leader. You need someone who's going to represent you. I am that representative. I am the one who can be trusted. I've been trusted with your sons and daughters of America. I've had ran multi-million-dollar programs as a federal contractor, and I will still do that as your representative in Congress. Thank you very much.
I think most of us know someone who's been addicted, probably a friend or family. And we have to remember we have to remember it affects all of us. Whether you're not addicted, even if you're not addicted, that's still affecting you. The way the system works now is not working. And very similar to what you just said, we do have to elect people up and down the ballot to ensure that we have people that are actively fighting for us in the community. It's not what we have now. It doesn't work. I do have a very compassionate approach to this because I put people first in my policies. It's not about profits. It's not about making money here. It's about protecting West Virginia, protecting Americans, and ensuring that we save lives. That's not a weak stance. People first. Invest in recovery, and remember, that person that may be demonized for being an addict is easily could be someone related to you. Like he could be. Thank you.
Okay. Again, my name is Brian McKinney, and I would love for you to check me out. I'm running for the United States Senate against Mr. Jim Justice, our governor, and Congressman Alex Mooney. I work in the private sector, and I understand that government is the problem. It is not our friend. It spends our money in other countries like Ukraine, and then doesn't fix our border. And we spend more money in taxes than what we ever did when we were under British rule. And I think everybody in this room is not happy with government. And the biggest solution is term limits and taking away the power of the federal government and stop taxing them. The solution to a lot of these problems is we can fix those at the state level, but we have to have money to do that. And right now, all our money is going to other countries and to universities, and half of what I make goes
out of town. I don't live in town, but I go to town like most people have to every month. I hate to because you leave broke, but I go to town every month and I spend my money there. Now, people out in the rural areas, if we have no economy, if they ain't making money, what are you going to sell them, right? So I think the key to this whole thing, the drugs and everything, because I remember back when I was a young boy, there was no opioid epidemic. What was the difference back then? We had jobs, we had lives, we could support our family, there was no despair. You know, the community took care of one another because we relied on each other because it was mom and pop. And then, around 1972, the Lewis Powell memo came out. I'm watching some cards. The Lewis Powell memo came out where the corporations decided that they wanted to take over the government, that they wanted to own everything that we had. They wanted to buy up all of our resources so we would rely completely on them so they could control us. And that's what they set out to do. They bought our politicians. All the candidates that I'm running against in the race, the reason why I'm running is because those cats are taking corporate money. And they're taking corporate money to get into office, to bankrupt the state government, so they can buy up our resources on a fire sale and then sell it back to us, so we have to do exactly what they say and win. It's not what we're worth, it's what they think or they tell us we're worth. And I think we just need to get rid of this corporate money out of our government, go back to mom and pop, build a local economy owned by the people of West Virginia, where we are the entrepreneurs. Drive this money out, get the corruption out. There's my red card. Thanks for having me. Casey for WD.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, my name is Mitch Roberts, and the first thing I have to do, and it's very important to me, it's just like the Pledge of Allegiance flag. I got to give my glory to God, okay? And I thank God for letting me come up here tonight safely. My wife's home, and you know, everything I try to do, I do in the favor of God, because He is my only, the only person that I really follow. He is, you know, the supreme being to me, or the supreme person to me. So with that being said, thank you, God, for getting me up here. I am from West Virginia. And when I first came in here, the young lady back there said I could sing on the mic. So almost heaven. I was kidding. I've never got karaoke before, so it's pretty cool. But what I'll tell you about the economy and the state of West Virginia. I'm coming in here today and I see beautiful farms. In the state of West Virginia, our farming community is up. Okay, the beef production's up. We can take what we have here, which is almost heaven, we can turn it in to one of the largest income sources in the state. We got to open up some slaughterhouses, and I'm not running for the agriculture, I'm running for state. But when they talk about food to table, let's get some programs going. Let's bring some slaughterhouses back. Let's grow our own stuff. Let's be independent from everybody else. You know, and going around, and this is a great crowd, and some of the best looking hair I've ever seen on these ladies, I can tell you, straight up. But let's go around and take the different counties, the different areas, the different regions, see what they're good at. You know what I'm saying? They always said if you want to be successful, you surround yourself with successful people. There's a lot of truth to that. You know, as the governor, if I was elected, I want to surround myself with successful people. I want to surround myself with professionals, with people that know what they're doing. You know, I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. I've never been a politician, a governor, or anything else. I've been a husband, a supporter of my community, and a business professional. Does that qualify me to be your governor? No. But I'll tell you what does qualify me. I love each and every one of you in here. I love the state. And, you know, I hear a lot of people talking negativity about the state and how bad things are. What I'm going to tell you is God gives us greatness every day. We get to live in this great state. You know, we're not pounded with a lot of people in big communities, this, that, and other. And think about that. I mean, if you live out on the farm, if you live downtown, and you know your neighbors, it's wonderful. Thank everybody. Mitch Roberts for governor. Have a wonderful week, and thank you.
Okay, let's move to Commissioner of Agriculture. Right, you're both running for that, Commissioner of Agriculture?
I'm representing somebody, so.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, we'll get after it then. So this entire county is basically a food desert. Yet we also have some amazing local farmers here. And so the question to you is, how can agriculture policies be aligned to support rural areas facing economic and nutritional counties or nutritional challenges just like Taylor County?
First of all, I'm Diana Sasso. I'm born and raised here in Grafton. I'm here to represent Kent Leonhardt, who's running for re-election for the Commissioner of Agriculture. And to tell you how much I respect Kent, this will be his third term he's running for. I'm not a speaker, you can probably hear it in my voice. And when he called me and asked me if I would come out and do this for him and represent him, I said sure I would. I've seen what Kent's done. We talk about the cattle's up. Kent's done a lot with West Virginia, working with West Virginia University to help our state. He's really working hard. He's got a good momentum going on, and I'd like to see it go forward. If you have any questions for me or Kent, please reach out to him, and he'd be happy to help you. But we sure would be happy to re-elect a honest, hard-working Commissioner of Agriculture that'll come back and work for you all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is,
hello, my name is Deborah Stiles, and I have a small farm in Tucker County, and I'm the Democratic nominee for Commissioner of Agriculture. And so I'm part of a team. Steve Williams is running for governor, and Mary Ann Clater is running for auditor, and I'm running for Commissioner of Agriculture, among other candidates. The Commissioner of Agriculture's job is to ensure plant and animal health and to advance the interest of agriculture. The questions that were asked by the Taylor County folks were right on the money. We do have food deserts, as they call them, in this state. I have a small scale farm, cattle, sheep, goats, do some specialty pumpkins, small scale agriculture. And that is the issue. Right now, farmers are not getting enough money for their crops. So our farmers need more support. And so we need to streamline some of the bureaucracy. While there have been some really excellent programs over the last 8 years, there is more to be done. And that's why I'm going across the state talking to people, and I will be coming back to meet with more Taylor County folks to find out exactly where our priorities should be. What I've been hearing from everybody from the Cabell County Farm Bureau to people in the Eastern Panhandle is that we are growing houses right now for wealthy people and not growing food. So Taylor County has an amazing base, an agricultural base. What we need to do is streamline the bureaucracy, make the website, for example, for the Department of Agriculture much more user-friendly, and in terms of arable land, protect all the land that we have. And I see that the cards are going up, so I will say, I'm Deborah Stiles, and I would welcome your questions and comments after this session, and I hope that you'll consider voting for me in November. Thank you.
if you want to make pie, you can have a pumpkin.
Awesome. Let's go with our one minute final word for the camera.
Sure. My name is Kevin Christian, Kevin Casey Christian. Service is in my blood. I started out as a volunteer first responder when I was just a little kid. Then I went to the Airborne Infantry, where I served in the 82nd, tip of the spear, son. And I defended you then, and I'll fight and defend you now. Then I was a black hat coal miner for several years while I put my family through college. I'm not a politician that stands up here and talks about coal. These hands dug it. I know how that is. And now I live off grid because my plan, when the corporations started taking over and the government went crazy, I'm going to the woods. So after spending a couple of years in the woods, I noticed a lot of problems. And as a vet, I couldn't stand by, right, Hood? I couldn't stand by and watch that anymore. So I'm running because all the other candidates are taking corporate money, and we've got to get that corporate money out of our elections so regular people with merit-based ideas can run. that know how to be West Virginians, that live like us, that look like us, that act like us. That's the candidates we need. There's my red card. Vote for me in the May primary. kcforwv.org. Thank you.
Did they get any questions?
What's that?
Then we have one question?
Correct.
Would it be possible for me to ask the question?
Go ahead, you got 30 seconds.
Okay, so if everybody is aware, our state government gave $300 million or more to Bill Gates and to build a Chinese electric bike or electric battery factory up in the northern section of the state. Do you support that? And if you don't, if you were elected, what would you do to reverse that?
Well, what I'd tell you is that we see all the goodness in batteries, we talk about it, but let's face it, without that coal to make that generation of electricity, the cars don't exist anyway. Coal's a premium source, it's always going to be a premium source. The extraction of gas from our state, I mean, let's face it, the very first well ever drilled was drilled right here in West Virginia. A lot of people say, nope, it was up in Pennsylvania. That's not a true story. You can ask Dave. Martin had, or not Martin, I can't remember Dave's last name, but he has the oil and gas museum up in Parkersburg. So what I tell you is, as far as the battery production, that's wealth coming in here, going to utilize, probably dump, unnecessary chemicals or this other in the land, and we're going to have no say in that.
I'm with one of the earlier candidates. We need to get our resources out of the ground right now, because we need capital right now. West Virginians need startup seed money right now. I've got to dig my garden by hand because I can't afford the diesel. Right now is what we need. So those battery factories, fine, come on in. I'm going to tax the snot out of you, and I'm going to turn that around and put it in our own resources. So, well, I'm fine with bringing them in, but we got to have a plan on this, and it ain't no sweetheart tax deal. And so we can use them to better ourselves. We're inviting them into our beautiful state, almost heaven. They can help us make it better. Woo!
And just to know, if you have a question like that, we want to try to direct that back there. It's more like a response to what somebody said. So, but that's all good. We got it. Great job. All right, did you finish your closing?
No.
Okay, go right ahead. Yeah, if you want to pick back up. He closed.
Oh, he closed. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you, and Casey and myself, neither one of us have taken the first dollar from any corporate giant, okay? I'm doing this, I prayed to God for this, and he said, hey, listen, you're my warrior, you're my soldier, go out there and preach my word, and that's why I'm here. The fact is, I have 2 grandchildren. At some point, I want to protect this great state of ours for them. I want them to stay. I want the wonderful people of West Virginia. It don't matter where you come from. We're not Graftonians or Wood Countyans or whatever. We're West Virginians, and that's what we got to remember. And as a group of people, we can come together, we can be resilient, we can show the rest of the United States what it's really like to be American. And if we do that, and the only thing I'm asking, I don't need the money, check out my webpage, because I couldn't afford anything else, Mitch Roberts for West Virginia Governor 2024, and you'll see there's no negative remarks or anything else. And just remember Mitch Roberts, and I think everybody here is wonderful, and I thank you very much.
Before we do just not to elicit panic in any one person, but it is raining outside, so if you left your windows open, make sure. All right. It's not like, did you leave the stove on?
Mine will get a car wash.
Incumbent goes first. Well, good. Now I know. You can see there, maybe I'll be a politician next year. I'll be a... No. But I do want to say it's Kent Leonhardt, and I do want to also mention Kent is a retired lieutenant colonel from the Marine Corps. He served 20 years. And also Kent worked very hard to have he broke for veterans, broke for farmers and the veterans, get money for them. So he's worked really hard training vets on how to be a farmers and in the agriculture business. So please, if you have time, go out and look at Kent's website and read all his accomplishments. And please, we would love your support. Thank you.
Like I mentioned, you're not going to find a website until June. What I'm doing is, as Deborah Stiles citizen of Tucker County, small farmer, somebody who's a rural educator, retired educator, and somebody who has worked on everything from how to get more money for sheep farmers for their wool, to young farmers' access to capital research. What I see going on in West Virginia is going on all over the US, all over the world in rural areas. We have got to focus on how to get our young people more active in activities that will keep them away from the drugs that are plaguing, that I have lost people in my community. My best friend lost her son. The way that we do this is we get back to the land. We get back to our resources and take them and make this state what it needs to be. I would hope that you would consider voting for me in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Joe, okay.
I'd like to say something, just real quick. Kevin, come up here. Please. No, this is serious. This is serious. What I've noticed with the people that stepped up here, the men that have stepped up here, I didn't serve the country. What I'm going to say about this, and this is straight up, when I see all these ex-military, retired military, and they're concerned about our country, as just general folks, we need to be concerned about our country. They serve their country, they know what it's about, and I'm going to tell you straight up, if they're concerned, we should be concerned because they have done it, lived it, and been there. Thank you, guys.
It was a risk letting somebody go off script. You did great. I afforded you that because you remembered the pledge for me, so thank you. All right, awesome. Okay, so next group up is the state legislators. So we'll have you guys go both the House and the Senate, state level. All right, how we doing? We doing okay, everyone? Can you hear us good? The mics? Yes, ma'am.
Say what party they're with.
What party they're with? So when you introduce your name, if you'd like.
I'm with the Republican Party. I did.
I'm a Republican.
I'm a conservative Republican.
Republican.
It's more like distribution.
Yes.
You look at the mouth.
Party
There it is.
of democracy.
Okay, excellent.
Thomas
All right.
Jefferson's party, the Democrats, the Democratic Republicans.
All right, great. Well, let's get started with our legislature group. So, ladies and gentlemen, our state's opportunities and challenges are as diverse across the state as is the landscape. And while that's awesome in many cases, it also provides challenges for government. And so I would ask, what initiatives or specific legislation would you either propose or support in order to combat the challenges we see in our region from the opioid epidemic, which has increased serious challenges in economics, houselessness, and more?
Good evening. I'm Betsy Arndolph Sayers. You're not going to see my name on the ballot in the primary because I'm Mountain Party. I'm third party. You're going to see me in November. I'm excited to be here. I want you to know I'm a small town mayor. I'm in a nonpartisan office over in Wardensville. And I will tell you, being a small town mayor, we spent a lot of time working and building coalitions. I'm in my second four-year term. And what it takes, if you're going to be elected to office, is we need to be building coalitions. We shouldn't be bashing one another. And part of it is learning what different groups do. On the homelessness or houselessness, we need to be working with our economic development authorities. We need to be putting together housing authorities. We need to have adequate and affordable housing. We need to address healthcare. It needs to be adequate, affordable, and accessible. Education. Our teachers need to be compensated, and we need recruitment and retention, not only for teachers, but for service personnel. And we're going to kick that over to childcare. We need access to childcare. We need to improve social services. And when you start having these services for people, we're going to start building communities. We're going to start addressing some of those other needs. And we're doing a lot of this over in Wardensville, and I can tell you we are a town of 258 people. If we can do it over there, it can be done anywhere in the state. And it's about reaching out, and if you don't know, say you don't know, and ask for help. I'm Betsy Arndolph Sayers, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, my name is Fred Guidi. I'm a 30-year resident of Taylor County, West Virginia. I am the chairman of the Republican Party in Taylor County, and I represent Taylor County on the Republican Executive Committee at the state level, so I'm a Republican.
What are you running for?
What am I running for? Thank you very much. That's a good question. I'm running for the House of Delegates, District 73, the seat that the retiring Amy Summers currently holds. In terms of a couple of facts I think we need to look at. Only 31% of the people in Taylor County actually have jobs. Of the cases that go across our prosecutor's desk, 88% of those people that are drug-related cases do not have jobs. Only 11% of those people actually own homes. Most of the people that work at the hospital do not work or live in Taylor County. If you go down Main Street in Grafton, only Fry's Automotive, the post office, the courthouse, and the city offices actually have full-time employees. We have to change that. We have got to change the tax base, and by doing so, we will get folks that won't be turning to drugs and what have you. I'm a pastor in a church downtown. I have folks come up every Sunday looking for food, and we're happy to feed them. We take coats to the folks that are without homes and such, and I feel for them. But I think jobs are the big deal, and I think we need to do that by expanding our vocational technical programs here in the county. Lear Mining, for example, has just hired 4 red hats out of our school system down there, but we need more. They have 524 employees down there, but they only have a handful of folks from Taylor County. The same with the railroad. There are 150 employees, but only 12 are from Taylor County. So by expanding VOTEC, by expanding education and getting folks into the trades, then we can build up our economic base, and I think we can cure a lot of ills. I've got a lot more to say. I'm sorry I'm getting all the cards, so I apologize. I'm Frank Guidi. I ask you for your vote. Thank you.
I'm Brian Smith, and I'm running for the House Delegates here in Taylor County. And I spent a lot of most of my adult life serving in Taylor County, working with the food pantry, working with the homeless, and you know what? We have a great opportunity to make a difference in those people's lives. But what we need is we need to make a change across the state. We need comprehensive rehab facilities, not just give a place for people to stay at night, but someone that really address the issue. You know, go in and find out what put these people to turn to drugs, what made these people turn to alcohol, what made them become homeless, and then give them a place to stay, give them a place to, find out, work with with psychologists or, and pardon me, I'm not a very public speaker, but we need to find out what the root cause is, and really get down on their level and realize that these are human beings, that these are people, and that they have families that love them, and the comprehensive approach would be build a building, give them a place to stay, give them an education, teach them, work with vocational schools, work with them, help them find jobs, and then get them back on their feet, find them a place to live, and make them useful members of society again. And as far as Taylor County, we do need jobs here. We have a great opportunity to build an economy around tourism and recreation. And I love this county, and I love all of you, and I know we can do it if we all work together. Thank you.
I'm Rick Wolf. I'm running for House Delegates on a Republican ticket. To make a change, it's got to start with education. We need a change in our education. We need to retain teachers. We need to attract teachers. We need to pay teachers more. But with that, we need to hold the teachers accountable. We need our 3rd graders reading at 3rd grade level. If we miss that, it's gone. You've got to start early on this. We need to make our schools, charter schools are great, good idea, but we should make the public schools so they attract everyone, that we want to go to the public schools. That's where we want our kids to go. We need after school activities. We need something to get these kids' minds off of hanging out, doing drugs, and drug education has got to start at a young level. 1st graders, we've got to talk to them about drugs. I think that if we make a big change in our education system, that's going to bring jobs, that's gonna bring people to the county, to the cities. You see what Grafton's like, Clarksburg, same way, downtown. There's not much going on. We need something downtown that's gonna attract people there, that's gonna bring them to downtown to shop. The next thing is the drugs, stopping drugs coming into the state. Anybody that brings drugs into the state comes in from out of state to peddle their drugs, and it needs to be mandatory. I got a red card. Mandatory 40 years in prison. Thank you.
So ominous, just kind of loading up, you know, red card. Sorry, yes.
I'm Betsy Randolph Sayers. As I said earlier, I'm the Mountain Party candidate. I'm running for Senate for District 14. I hope you will consider voting for me come November. Democracy requires participation, and it involves us getting involved in our communities. Being passive, not just chit-chatting doesn't make a difference. We all need to get involved, and when we're working together, we achieve more. I honestly don't believe our legislature, when you look at the number of bills that got introduced, they didn't get a lot done. We need to be working on the problems, the here and the now, the housing, the education, childcare, addiction, and the list can go on. Talk to us who are interested in making the change. It's possible, but we need the opportunity. If you vote for the people who've done the same old thing, you're gonna get the same old thing. Yeah. And don't complain. That's right. Because you were not willing to go out and make it. Thank you.
Look, we only have a minute, but I want to share with you my thought on how I respond and how I would govern. First off, the Holy Bible is the inherent Word of God. I read the Bible every day, and that will guide my faith. The second is U.S. Constitution. I believe the U.S. Constitution should be interpreted as it was meant by our founding fathers. The third is the West Virginia Constitution. We need to adhere to those laws and those regulations, and fourth is the GOP party platform. I started a charter school just like the Brigadier General did. I started a charter school. I brought Celebrate Recovery, and I've brought Alcoholics Anonymous here. I will continue to do those kinds of things if I'm elected. I thank you for your vote. I ask you for God's blessing. And I thank you for letting me speak to you today. And Alex, thank you for you and your crew for doing this.
Woo. I'm Brian Smith, and I believe that, like I said, Taylor County has a bright future. And I promise you, most of you guys know who I am and know that I love this county with all my heart. And should you elect me to go to Charleston, I'll give you guys 110%, and I'll work diligently for y'all. And we know we can make a difference. We can turn Taylor County into a gem. We can turn it into, a great place for people to come from all over the world to West Virginia. So thank you all for allowing us to be here. Alex, thank you. And please vote for Brian Smith, the Republican.
I'm Rick Wolf. I grew up in Morgantown. I joined the Marine Corps at 19. I spent 26 years in the Marine Corps. Retired, I came back here, got a job with Lockheed Martin as a program manager at a federal installation here. I know how to get things done, and I can make things happen. I've done it all my life. I ask that you send me to Charleston to represent you. Thank you.
Have a seat. We're going to bring up now the county, county commission, assessor, and the city council. Bring you guys up. By the way, while they're all coming up here, I do want to remind you, if you have a question you want to ask, you can scan the QR codes that are on the wall, or old school, go back to where Heather and Megan are. You can fill out a little submission form. If we have time, hopefully we do. A lot of candidates. All right. All right. Chris, we'll start with you on the assessor. As an assessor, how do you see your role in influencing the broader economic health of our community, especially through accurate property value and fair tax assessment?
Sorry, I'm Krista Kinsey. I'm running as the assessor on the Republican ticket. Can you repeat that question one more time? I'm sorry.
So from an assessor standpoint, how do you see your role in influencing economic health in our community through fair, accurate property value and fair tax assessment?
Okay. Accurate and fair property tax assessments is very important to every county in the state. Because loving bodies, municipalities, school boards, the county relies solely on the values that we set forth, and then that gives you your tax dollars. So we want to make sure that they're accurate. If I do something wrong and they're not, then that could be money that has to be given back to a taxpayer. And I just want to treat everybody fair, and I want to be honest with everyone.
All right, let's go to City Council. Becky, houselessness is a multifaceted issue that requires comprehensive solutions. Can you outline your proposed approach to reduce houselessness in our city with a focus on what specific programs, policies, or research you can point to in regard to implementation?
Laughing. You better have to remind me what you just said. That was like. I'm Becky Bartlett. I'm a lifelong Taylor County resident. Push the button.
I sing. You think I'd know that, right? Lifelong Taylor County resident. I've lived in the city limits for the past 33 years and I've done a lot of community service. I'm currently on the library board and have been for 4 years. As an educator for 25 years in Grafton, I thought this would be a good time for me to try to get on city council and see what I can do for my city by being a part of city council. I might be different from everybody else because I like the grassroots effort when it comes to homelessness. Growing up, I grew up in Wendell. My grandmother lived in Flemington, and there were always homeless people in Taylor County. The man out the road from my grandmother made hooch. Can I say that? I'm allowed to say that. And she would say, I want you to take these jars of preservatives out and sit them on the wall. I want you to take out this blanket that I made of rags and sit it on the wall. And that's how people took care of people. I still like that approach. Linda's sitting there. Linda is a member of my church and has been heading up the mission for our church for years. I probably could say decades, right, Linda? 13 years. I have worked with her. I like that. I like that approach. I think we need to keep doing that, offer people support, help them find a way into recovery, help them find a way into homes if they want them. There are people who want to live a hobo lifestyle, and we've kind of got to accept that. And not the same with drugs. And like people said, educate the youth, stop the drugs that we can stop, educate the youth, and make it clear that we're going to give you the resources you need to help you and make you find a way to feel better about yourself and the things that you want to do for your own future. I'm a grassroots person. I also like the people who are running and my card is up.
What party?
There is no party, it's nonpartisan. Yeah.
Awesome. We go to County Commission. Sam Terry, we'll start with you, Sam. And economically speaking, we're still in a relatively slow doom loop or downward spiral. Yeah, we've had positive outcomes here or there, but generally Taylor County has not rebounded from the beginning of our decline over a generation ago. So it's seemingly obvious that small business momentum must be a part of this, as well as recreation, quality of life for residents who live here and or choose to move here. So what are your specific plans for economic revitalization, and how will you measure the success of those initiatives?
Leave it on. Yep. Sam Jerkin, County Commission, Republican. That was a lot of words, Alex. Repeat those one quick time.
Yeah, so the point is, our community, even when you look statistically across the state, is still declining in terms of economic vitality. And so how can you as a commissioner, what do you plan to do to help begin to stop that decline and begin that growth economically?
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Taylor County as a whole, we are what we are. We are a bunch of good people. We have a bunch of good folks here, just like Mr. Guidi said, most of us work out of town, so we've become a bedroom community, and that's not necessarily a terrible thing. A bedroom community can be a really good thing. We have very good facilities and very good opportunities right now, so I think it's just making the most of what we have. You know, a lot of times people want a little bit more, and it's okay to want more, it's okay to want better, but we need to use what we have right now. We need to take care of the opportunities and take advantage of the opportunities that we have as a county right now. I mean, we've got a tourist destination that many counties, states, regions would love to have with Taggart Lake and a Taggart River. But little do people use that opportunity in our county. And I would like to see more people taking the initiative to take the involvement of using the resources that we have that are already there. So how to develop it, how to attract more businesses in, it's a tough thing. It really is. I mean, we're so close logistically to Harrison County, Marion County, Mon County. Everybody is working there, but it's a hop, skip, and a jump over there. So taking advantage of, you know, of our location is our strength. So yeah, I'd love to see the downtown area get revitalized, but it's a really tough thing to do, is to attract businesses in, to make that investment. It's got to be private money. It can't be the government throwing money at everything. It has to be private individuals making the investment. We can't rely on the government to provide everything for everybody. It has to be individuals taking the risk, spending the money, and making the investment. And I'll help every way I can.
The Republican candidate for county commission. I'm your sheriff here. I've been here 7.5 years.
Speak up.
Not working right? That better?
Yeah.
I'm Terry Austin. I'm your sheriff here in Taylor County. To bring back Grafton, just a few months ago, I tried to buy the motel. And I felt that we had to have the motel to be able to bring tourism into this county and have a place for people to stay. I was a backup bidder, and I was really upset, really, when I found out more government money was going to be spent on what was going to replace it. I was willing to put all my money into this to keep this motel because we needed it. Now it's gone, so I got to move on. But I'm going to tell you something. You know, years ago we had the Railroad Heritage Festival. Where's it at? It was a good festival. Why isn't something more being done with our heritage that we have in this county? The railroad was big in this community. You know, we have the coal company here now, and we don't want to make the same mistake with them that we did with the coal company, with the railroad. The railroad was here, was very good to this community, and now the coal company's here. It's not always going to be here. We need to have vision. Looking down the road. We can't just look into the next 5 years. Our grandkids are coming up. We need to look further down the road and try to attract businesses in here. They're out there. There's things out there that we can draw into this community, but you got to look. You got to go out past the city limits, past the state lines, and bring these businesses in. Right now, the coal company needs different supplies and stuff. Why isn't somebody talking to that coal company to try to get those type of businesses into this community to generate money and to build Grafton back up? Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll go through and do our 1 minute close.
I'm Becky Bartlett. I'm running for city council, and just hoping that people will see that I get a chance to serve my community in a different way than I've been doing all these years, and just a chance to share some ideas and maybe make that connection between the city and the youth of our community through the high school and students who are going out into the community really quickly.
I'm Krista Kinsey. I'm your Republican candidate seeking re-election for assessor. I'm a lifelong resident of Taylor County. I graduated from Grafton High School and WVU. My husband and I also have 2 kids that have attended Grafton. One has graduated, one will graduate here in about 4 years. I also serve a lot in the community, volunteering with sports, with schools, Rotary. I volunteer at the mission. And so I do talk a lot with kids about drugs. I also have talked to the people that come into the mission, seeing what they need, what they would like to see to try to get them off the streets. But I will continue to work hard for the people of Taylor County, and I will treat everybody fair. Thank you.
Sam Jerkin, County Commission. I just wanted to first and foremost thank everybody for the last 5 years. Being your county commissioner has been very special to me. It's been really fast too. I mean, 5 years flies by. And it's amazing how fast time goes. I mean, a lot has happened in the last couple of years with COVID and everything else. So it's been a good 5 years, and I want to thank you guys for the support. And that's what we've got here in this community. We have support. We look after one another. If anybody needs anything, we come together better than any community around. And we got to preserve what we have. Just take advantage of the small, everybody knowing everybody. Everybody knows everybody's business, but hey, sometimes that's our advantage. So we got to look to our strengths and not so much focus on our weaknesses. Let's build our strengths. We can do better. You can always do better. Let's build on better. But we have to preserve as well. So thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate everything. I hope to have your support again for the next 6 years, and thank you so much.
Again, I'm Terry Austin. What I'm going to say here is not about myself. You hear a lot about the drug epidemic. I've lived it. I've dealt with these people. I've arrested these people. The largest drug bust in the history of Taylor County has been during my administration. The homeless people, they are people. They are human beings. They need help. But they also take advantage of our system. A lot of these people needs to be put in prison. But our prison system needs to be revamped. Because these people should not be sitting up there in prison at a recreation facility instead of working on farms and supplying their own food if they want to eat. That sounds kind of cruel, but it's facts. I see too much of it. Repeat, that we have to deal with these people every week. We need strong judges, we need strong magistrates and prosecutors. We can soft soap this all we want. Get the people in prison 6 months minimum. Change their mind there. If you are taking advantage of the system, change it there.
Yes, absolutely. Next up will be Sheriff. So we'll give everyone a run for the Sheriff office, please. By the way, if you've never done anything like this, it's hard. So, gratitude goes out to the candidates who are willing to get up here and lay it out there for you. So, always thank you for that. All right, gentlemen. First question, or the question for me anyway. The drug epidemic is a much greater challenge than just penalization. Collaboration with other agencies and community organizations can be crucial in tackling complex issues like drug abuse. So the question to you is, how do you plan to foster these kind of relationships, and what role do you see for the Sheriff's Office in these partnerships? Clark, sir.
Great, thank you.
Clark Sinclair, Republican running for sheriff. Been there before. We gotta get the drug task force back. Simply put.
I hear you, Clark.
Get the drug task force back. Simply put. You hear that now?
Not very well.
Is that better? We gotta get the drug task force back. That's simply put. We gotta get to cooperate with other agencies in the county. You have to work with other agencies to make sure this is done. We get the drug education programs back in their schools as well. But again, we gotta work together with other agencies, the prosecutor's office and so forth. It's a problem that's going to be with us for a long time if we don't work on it.
Again, I get a little nervous up here, and they say every time I don't talk fast or too loud. Everybody hear what I'm saying now?
Yeah.
Drug task force knows we have to get it back, go work with other agencies, and we have to do our best to get this problem taken care of. So thank you.
All right, my name's Robert Kennedy. I came from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm new to the area. I've been here for 5.5 months, and being here this 5.5 months, I noticed there's been there's epidemic of drugs all over the place. And I know 2 meth houses downtown Grafton that I noticed, and I'm sure the sheriff's office knows about it. And with that being said, there should be something done, and there's nothing being done about it. And to me, it bothers me because I live here now. I'm from here. I worked in a drug task force in Baltimore City. I got tons of experience, and I wrote a lot of stuff down. We only got a minute and a half to talk, and so bear with me a minute. Communities throughout the United States face issues related to substance abuse every day, not just here. Trends including the rise of prescription drug abuse, increased heroin and meth addiction. New drugs only add to this problem. Substance abuse within our communities also create other problems, such as individuals committing crimes to fuel their addiction. Finally, our jails, where so many individuals committing crimes, okay, you gotta bear with me, my eyes are going blank. Substance abuse with our communities also create other problems, such as individuals committing crimes to fuel their addiction. Finally, our jails, where so many drug addicted individuals end up, are not only the appropriate place provide services for individuals going through withdrawal and recovery process. Law enforcement must deal with drug-related issues daily. The police alone can't solve the problem for addiction in our communities. Law enforcement leaders must recognize the importance and their roles as first responders and leaders to engage their governing bodies, legislators, and communities leaders to address the broader aspect of these issues. Law enforcement should also strive to create partnerships with public health providers and rehabilitation experts to help officers respond more effectively to substance abusers with an increased alternative solution to incarceration. Smart policing, smart justice, smart alternatives require approaches to drug crime. For example, the sheriff or local police can collaborate with school officials to educate our young people on the dangers of drug abuse and help prevent drug use before it begins triggering the long-term consequences. Anyway, as far as the drug thing is, we need somebody in there with leadership and integrity, somebody who knows how to run a police department. I came from a big city, worked in a big city, small town, and
Are you Republican, Bob?
Republican, 100.
My name's Dave Poston. I'm running for sheriff. I'm on the Republican ticket. I was a veteran of the U.S. Army. I lived in Taylor County all my life except while serving in the Army. My biggest thing here is on this. I've been in talk since I've been running here for sheriff. I'm trying to get a lot of things in line. And my biggest thing is I talked with Brian Perkey. He's works for the DA agents in Harrison County. And he's willing to work with me if I get elected in there, to come in there and help us set up to get a good drug task force unit started and to start hitting this drug situation in this county hard. Not going to let up on it. We're going to hit it hard. And, you know, another thing is with the homeless people, I've been in contact with some people in Fairmont, Marion County, and in Montague County. There's 2 places in Mon County that are called the Bartlett House. That's a homeless shelter for people. You know, that you can take people here that want to go up there, they'll take them in and help them get situated around, and there's government benefits that they can help them get on through DHHR, government funding, and there's the Mission Place in Fairmont. And they've got some excellent ideas on helping us here in this county with, I've heard a lot of them say that these people come right in their business, unplug their coffee machines to charge their cell phones. Fairmont has a a storefront down on Main Street. It's just a room they could go in. There's nothing in there. They can go in there and get warm off the street during the winter time, and they can have a place in there to charge their cell phones. And I've talked to a few of the homeless people underneath the bridges down there by the Exxon, and the people that I've talked to, most of them, they don't want help. They don't want to be part of society. So I don't know what else we can do with those. But for one, you know, if I have to go down there personally as a sheriff with a roll of garbage bags in my hand, they're not going to trash up the town. It's not going to sit there and float down the river. You can walk down that bridge right there and there's needles laying on the ground. And that stuff needs to be picked up. So, thank you.
30 seconds for me.
Well, I just really have a question, or I'm gonna make a statement. You know, we're talking about addiction, okay? And I'm not ashamed to say it, my mom was an addict. She wasn't an addict by choice. She went to a doctor to get help and got a pill addiction. She got clean, she got saved by the Lord, and I thank that. And when I think of crimes and addicts, and my question, I guess, for these guys, I've had people ask me as I'm going around the state, you know, about this. They say, hey, my kid's locked up, they're addicts. The truth is, their kid's not locked up because they're an addict. Their kid's locked up because they stole or broke the law. And I think we need to understand in the state, there's a difference between being an addict and being a criminal. And we don't lock addicts up. We lock criminals up.
I'd like to say something to that. When it comes to addicts, in order to get there, you got issues. Number one, when you become an addict, you steal, you rob places, you do what you got to do to get high. So it all goes hand in hand, whether you're an addict or a thief or whatever. It all goes hand in hand, and we got to stop all this in Taylor County because I hear so many places get broken into, Chevy getting broken into, houses and stuff like that. And I live here now, and I don't want that in my neighborhood. So I'll do all I can to stop this. And we need somebody here, like I said, with leadership. I don't see no leadership whatsoever in the sheriff's department. No disrespect, but I've been here, and I'm just being honest.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, let's do our closing. 1 minute closing.
I'll try to be a little louder in this area. Hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I've been in law enforcement 42 years. I'm dedicated to this county. I've lived here all my life. I've got my grandchildren here and my children. I want to. Hear me now? How about this? Thanks, I've been here all my life, 43 years with law enforcement background. I want to come back and do some more. We got to get stuff done. Get the drug task force back. We got to get back to school, to educate the children with drugs and safety information. You have to get the you just got to put a lot of. I'm going to show you something here. This is a challenge for my son. He's a DA in California. And I'm proud of him. That's what and I have another, a friend of mine, I have another that's got a child with drug enforcement and everything. Anyhow, you have my promise, I'm elected, I'll do my best to get the drug program, also get the task force back, and also to work with everybody in the county to do my best. So, I'm gonna get a little nervous, but again, I appreciate your support and thanks.
All right, my name is Robert Kennedy. I am running for sheriff for Taylor County. I am a Bible-believing Christian. Lord saved me at 16 years old, changed my life completely, and I thank the Lord for that. And when I moved here, the Lord put it on my heart to run for sheriff, and that's why I'm doing it. I want to make sure that I'm in the center of God's will. So whether I win this election, whether I lose, it's going to be the Lord's will. And my thing is, even if I don't win, I'll be here to support everybody in here. If there's anything that I can do to help out, I'll be here for you. Thank you.
Again, my name's Dave Poston. I'm running for sheriff. I don't have the qualifications that these guys have up here. They all got 30 years more experience in the law, but I've checked with, I've got experience in the theft the drug addiction stuff in the family, homelessness in the family, a murder in the family. So I have, you know, experience with the problems this county suffers from. And, you know, it's on my heart. I don't want somebody else to have to go through that. So whatever I can do to help fix that so somebody else doesn't go through that, that's why I'm running for it. And I'm going to be going, if I win in May, I've checked with the Fairmont State offers the academy now, and I've talked with them and set it up. So if I get elected, I'll be going to the academy so I can get my certs and be like these guys up here. I will work hard in there. I got a good work ethic. I'm not afraid to work, and I'll be out there and work. I got to work with the community. You guys are the ones that's going to help get things cleaned up. You're the eyes and the ears out there to help us to do our job. So that's my plans, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
30 seconds.
Okay. I'm your sheriff. I've had more felony arrests than any sheriff combined in the last 50 years. The drug problem we have attacked, when I went into the department, I went in to fight corruption. I have one original officer left. You don't talk about leadership. I got rid of the trash in the department. We continue to do that. We've got a good group of guys. None of you guys has ever come and talked to me. They ask me if we have any problems or anything. You just assume you know what's going on. I'll continue to December the 31st to fight the drug problem and any other problems this county has. Until then, I am the sheriff.
Make sure that you're.
Yeah. Okay, for you folks, let you know, when I moved here 5 months ago, I've been to this town, the office at least 15 times in person. His secretary can vouch for me. This man would not step out of his office. He was there, would not talk to me or anything. I had some questions, and this is the kind of person that they have in the sheriff's office.
Here's what I suggest. You guys after we probably catch up and see how you can connect in the future.
And we spoke about these things, so he knows.
Okay, that'll work. You guys can take it offline and get good. Thank you guys. Well, at Board of Education, you guys come on down. Well, we're close, folks. We've got the judicial we have this, and then it's on to your question. You know, it's interesting. I read a study the other day of fears, people's worst fears. Their second worst fear is death. You know what their first worst fear is? Public speaking. So we're all facing death. All right. Okay, so this question is. All right, this question. So given the impact of the opioid epidemic, and we've been talking about that, on families within our community, what initiatives can the Board of Education implement to support affected students? All right, let me ask that question again. What initiatives can the Board of Education implement to support affected students and prevent substance abuse among the youth? You know, those impacts are displaced students, maybe with grandparents or foster parents, etc., houselessness, substance abuse at home, the lack of hope or expectations around education. So the question is, what initiatives as a board member can you put forth to help those affected students? Matt, we'll start with you.
Okay, give it a shot here. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
My name's Matt Wagman. I live in Simpson with my wife, and I have 3 foster kids, so that subject is near and dear to me. By having foster kids, our eyes were opened to the plight of our kids. Our kids are in trouble. They're in trouble in so many ways. These people have given some of the problems. We're facing a lot of problems in this country, and you can't fix everything. So my wife and I are dedicating the rest of our life to help our children. Look around and see how many young people we have here. I see one, I see a couple little ones back there. We have to engage our young people. Our school system has to engage. I would like to see some programs that involve the families and the kids. We have to do a better job with our children. I think I'm quoting this right when I say that 42%, is that the number,
of children in Taylor County are being raised by somebody other than a natural parent.
That's right.
That made me weak at my knees. I'm 70, I'll be 70 years old. I should not have to be raising young children, but we are. If we don't do it, who's going to do it? So that's why I'm running. I'm not here to bash present and past members of the board, but our heart is in it. The rest of our lives, we'll take care of the children.
I'm Jason McDaniel. I live in Plymouth community. The reason I think we need to get back to drug education in the school system. Currently, both Grafton PD and the Sheriff's Department do have school resource officers at the high school and the middle school. I think they need to get back into the DARE program as well into the school system. Surrounding counties have done so. Right now, we're looking at, we've got issues with drugs in the school, vape pens in the school. Those need to be addressed. As a board member, that's where you start. You get with law enforcement, you get with other volunteers and community support and get the drug education started back in the school system to educate the young kids so it doesn't get out of hand like I've seen it in other counties, because I do work out of county. So I think, nothing against any of these three that currently are on the board. I think they're doing a fantastic job, but I think that there needs to be more drug education in the school system going forward.
I'm Melissa Knotts, and I currently serve as a board member on the Taylor County Board of Education. I have served in multiple roles on the Board of Education. So I have been through every single drug that has been brought into our schools that I can even imagine. Throughout the years, it's been pills, it's went from marijuana. One of the biggest things we have now that we're battling in our school system are THC vape pens. And we are really working hard at trying to dig into where those vape pens are coming from. And I think that's one of the things we're going to have to continue to work towards, is finding out how our kids are getting supplied some of the vape pens and some of these types of drugs that are bringing them really to addiction. Some of the things we can do, we have school resource officers. I have assisted the board, been one of the board members to bring one of the first resource officers into the county to Grafton High School, and pushing for additional resource officers into our county. Intervention specialists, we need to have staff that are fully trained. We need to value our staff and support our staff so they are able to get in there with our kids and educate them. We need to start educating them. I think I heard someone else say educate them at the earliest young age, all the way up through, to continue to keep their mind set on what happens to their future when they get involved in drugs, whether it's THC pen, whether it's marijuana, whatever that might be. But that impacts their future. We need them to graduate to become very good citizens in the county and the state, so they can go out and they can make an income and they can provide and they can actually become good citizens in our state, and we want them to stay here. So we also need to bring, we need to get them involved in activities. So one of the big things that we have that I push for is how many different activities can we give our kids? If we give them more things that they're interested in to keep them in school and keep them out of drugs and keep them out of trouble. I'm Melissa Knotts. Thank you.
I'm John Taylor. I'm presently on the board and would like to have another term. I want to tell you a couple of things. In the first place, I'm involved with after-school activities. I've started chess programs in several of our schools and trying to expand it to all of the schools. Getting kids involved in activities is probably the biggest way to keep them away from drugs. If they can be involved in whatever they're interested in, then they can have a buy-in to the school system and be better participants. One of the things I want to mention to you, just as an example of the kinds of things I have and can do, is, for one thing, I found out that we had chronic absenteeism in a number of students. And I found out that one of the reasons that we have that is that because the law was not strict enough. And so I talked to our attendance director, I talked to our prosecuting attorney, John Board, and I talked to my son, Jay Taylor, who is in the Senate and is on the Senate Education Committee. I got a law written with John Board's advice that Jay Taylor presented in the Senate. It was passed this year. It's signed by the governor, and next year we will have stronger attendance laws because of some of the things that we've worked on, or that I've worked on through my son, Jay Taylor. So if we can't have them, their butts in the seats, we can't educate them. So attendance is important, and that was one of the things that I worked on as a board member to try to do something about it. The drug problem, we've expelled 20-some kids this year for vaping THC. It's got to stop. We've got to get to the bottom of it. Thank you. John Taylor for Board of Education.
My name's Daniel Dowdy. I was recently placed into the Board of Education. I was unanimously voted by my peers to replace Mr. Sinclair whenever he went over to the sheriff's election. All of these guys have really touched on a lot of key points, and it really is the awareness, what we have to have in the schools, and how we combat it. You know, with the expulsions and the things that we've done, I've been on the board for 2.5 months, and I've seen so many expulsions with this, and these kids can have a bright future, and I want to help assist them with that, but we've got to find out how it's getting in the schools. And working with law enforcement has been a huge benefit to us, but we've got to work harder. That's us and them and the schools. I have seen these kids sit in these seats in front of me, and you know, my heart goes out to them because I know they have a bright future. But we've got to work to get them on that right track. And I know that we can do it. It's been hard. It's been hard with all the expulsions that we've done, but having the after-school programs, having the outlets that they can go into, we've got to think outside of the box. We've got to get these kids busy in school and out of school, because that's when they've got their idle time, and we've got to work with that. That's where I'm at with this. Again, if re-elected, I'm going to continue to do what we're doing to make this work.
Excellent. All right, 1 minute last word. Matt, we'll start with you. Oh, wait a minute. We've got a question or a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say to the Board of Education members, we all eat, and we have a land base in Taylor County, as we have all over the state. And some of the programs that I've worked with are the farm to school, farm to table programs. Can you just briefly comment on what you've got? Because what you're saying is keeping kids engaged. You know, I'm 62, and there were a lot of people that were getting in drugs when I was in school, but I went to the FFA, I went to 4-H, and if you have after-school programs, do you have farm-to-school programs? Is that something that Taylor County is already doing? Because, you know, the Department of Ag cooperates with WVU Extension. My dad was a county extension agent, and that's where we were able to get kids away from some of the dangers by simply getting them engaged, like you said. So I just want to ask them, you know, what are you doing? And what is your vision for getting people, the kids, involved in growing their own food or helping them learn how the world works in terms of growing?
30 seconds from you.
Since I have the mic, I'll go ahead and take that one. I'm not on board right now, so the ones of us that aren't, we're on the outside looking in. We don't know all the programs that are available and that are in place. Feeding our children is one of the most important things we can do. There are kids in our community that if it weren't for the school system, they wouldn't get a nourishing meal in a day's time. You cannot sit in school on a chair being hungry. Your mind doesn't work. So that's one of the issues. I think we feed our children free of charge. Is that right?
Yes.
The way it is now? Can that be expanded? I'm sure it can.
Sorry. No, I'm gonna jump the pocket of something. Does anyone else want to respond to that in 30 seconds, or we're good? All right, awesome. Board of Education, thank you. You guys get home. Sure. We can say something? No.
Because I
do it.
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Are you all educating your teachers on the different types of vapes, edibles? Because I know I've spoke to a few in the past and they didn't even know. Like, they look like zip drives.
Yeah.
One had a dab pen plugged in her room being charged and didn't even know what that was.
So for this question, let's answer this one. Any of those questions, let's get them back there so we can be fair to all the other officers who have faced the judicial. That's okay. These are interesting things, but let's go ahead and 30 seconds for that, and then.
If they're not familiar, they should be by now. I don't know about Taylor County because I'm not on the board. I know the teachers that I've spoken to, which are mainly my child's teachers, they are familiar with the vape pens, and some of them do look like thumb drives. Some do look like, a phone charger. So I'm hoping that they are getting more educated. I know in conversations I've had with the principal at the middle school, that is something that they have spoken about to their staff recently.
If anyone knows me, the first thing I should say is everybody should know I have a very hard time saying anything in 90 seconds. Everybody that knows me knows I can't only talk for 90 seconds. However, okay, so to answer your question, first off, every vape pen can look differently. They are now hiding them in what looks like highlighters. So yes, we educate and bring programs in for our teachers every summer to be able to give them developmental opportunities as well as learning, and we will also bring things into the schools for our kids. I am proud of my daughter. One of my daughters was one of the first that bring up the idea of vape detectors and brought it to her on her own, brought it to the principal, and also brought it to the forefront to get the vape detectors put in the bathrooms at the high school. So very involved in that, and being able to, you will give me that equal eye on that. But yes, we do. We're trying to educate our teachers so we can protect our kids. The teachers want the kids protected. The board wants the kids protected.
Okay, another 30 seconds for.
Just one more thing. This is all of us involved. This is not just me talking about this. We've got to be even more knowledgeable about these things. Guys, this is happening in middle school. It's only a minute before it's going to be in the elementary school. We've got to know everything about this. Will we ever know everything? No, because it's always changing. What we had in when we were in school versus what we have now, everything's changing. But we've got to make ourselves continually aware. That's what we're working towards.
We going in 1 minute? Oh, 1 minute. Oh my gosh. Well, you got how many minutes you got there? Go ahead.
Are you subtracting my?
I think so. Go ahead, Matt. Get your 1 minute.
Okay, again, my name is Matt Wagman. I live in Simpson. I'd like for everybody to come out and vote and consider my name on the ballot. I didn't even get to talk about the thing that is most important to me, and that's the safety in our schools. And I would like, if elected, to work with our people in law enforcement in any way, shape, or form that we can make our schools safe. We don't need a Sandy Hook in Taylor County, West Virginia. And if you're sitting there thinking that it can't happen, it can. I don't know anything would be more of a tragedy in life than to have something like that. We need to do a better job protecting our kids, protecting our teachers, protecting our support personnel. And that's what my priority is, along with many others. Vocational school, we have to send kids out that can do something in life, not sit under the bridge and smoke dope or whatever other drug they're interested in. So, thank you.
Again, I'm Jason McDaniel. I've been a lifelong resident of Taylor County. I did move away for about 6 months after high school. Currently raising my 13-year-old son, who is a special needs student within the school system here. So I just think that we all, regardless which one of the 5 of us, out of the 5, the 3 that get elected, we just need to continue to improve the Board of Education, our school system, and leave it better for our kids when it's them running for office.
Melissa Knotts. I live in the Midland area of Taylor County. I am in the Western District. I have been in Taylor County for quite some time, and I've served a lot of good years on the Taylor County Board of Education, worked with a lot of good staff, a lot of good board members, and I have really felt that I've dedicated a lot of time towards the county and also towards the county members and the community. I also feel that this is a collaborative effort with the rest of the county on what we do with our schools, especially our law enforcement, and they have been very gracious to help us with SROs. And just hope that I can get your vote in May and help me support this county, the citizens, the teachers, the kids. It is all about the kids. And everything that we do is to educate and keep our kids. Every single child deserves a chance. And by putting the right members on that Board of Education, we will ensure that our staff are valued, our kids are happy, and that we educate and give our kids the opportunity they deserve once they graduate high school. Thank you.
I'm John Taylor. I have a record of service in Taylor County. I taught for 41 years, 35 of them right here in Taylor County. I taught at Flemington High School and for 31 years at Grafton High School. I have a, sorry Alex, I have a great grandfather that's buried in the National Cemetery. He warned us about talking about our grandparents. So I've got roots in this community. My level of service is not just teaching. I volunteered as a paramedic for the county for 23 years. So I have a different kind of service, but service to the county has been something that I've lived determinedly for ever since I've been here. You know, I wish that you will allow me to continue. Vote John Taylor, Board of Education, Eastern District. Thank you very much.
Daniel Dowdy, Western District. Guys, I've had my hand in everything. I'm the guy that knows how to do it, how to get it done, and if I don't, I'll have it done for you by the end of the day. To the lady who's already asked me about t-shirts, yeah, I got you going. We'll get it done on Monday. I have truly been honored to be in this position for a short time, but I feel like it's been impactful. I've worked with a great group of people. We have a great superintendent that has really challenged me as a young adult. And I've lived in Taylor County for 15 years, and I hope to live here for another 50 more. It's truly been an honor, and I hope to serve you when reelected to do more. When the rubber hit the road with me in this town is when I had a personal tragedy hit my life, and you all came running to me. And I will forever be indebted to you for that. So I appreciate your vote. Thank you for allowing me to serve you.
We have the judicial come up, both the magistrate and the circuit, please. Appreciate you all being good sports with the time, and also trying to honor that. We have some questions that are ready. We look like we're doing time. This is scheduled from 6 to 8. We close. So we can fit in. Some of that was around vaping. We'll figure out a way, we don't get these questions here, to make sure we get them to the panel so they can present their answers on their social media platform or wherever else they can answer. Whatever works. We'll start with that. Yes, ma'am. There's still some waters in the back if anybody's getting a little parched. Okay. All right, everyone, let's get back to it. We're on the home stretch here. Okay, so this question's to magistrate. Magistrate court, often referred to as the people's court, is still judicial. And so, what's that? I speak up. I'm sorry, the mic. Over here. I do just want to make a comment real quick on the judicial both offices. You know, we can't ask them specific questions about how you would rule exactly on this case or anything like that. So these questions are more philosophical in nature, character-based, how they might lead this community in that position. And so starting off with magistrate court, often referred to as the people's court, is still judicial. And the question is, how might you approach alternative sentencing or diversion programs for individuals involved in minor drug-related offenses, and what factors might likely influence your decisions?
My name is Judy Schaefer. I am running for Division II Magistrate. I am a lifelong resident of Taylor County. To answer Alex's question, we need to look at alternative sentencing. We have way too much overcrowding in our jails now. I'm a big fan of community service, community support. If you take a look around, I know Mr. Poston spoke about the condition of the streets, the bridges, things like that. We have people that can clean it up. If you're going to be convicted, you know, if it's your first offense, let's get you out there, give you some kind of pride, make you take pride in your community. Now, that flash forward a little bit, if it is not your first offense, I'm not a big fan of that. If it's your multiple offense, you've been in front of me multiple times, you're probably going to see the inside of a jail at some point. And unfortunately, that's what life is now. I mean, that is what our society is. You know, like I said, if you appear in front of me, I am all about second chances. I would love to see people go to rehab. I've done this for 29 years. I've worked in this system. I have seen a few handfuls of people who have done well in rehab. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of failure in that program as well. So we just need to work together. We need to look at it case by case. You have to look at that individual appearing in front of you to decide whether or not that is what's best for them. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm Sue Guthrie, and I'm the magistrate at Division I currently. Are y'all tired of hearing about the drug situation in Taylor County? I am. Alternative sentencing is very important. I address it. First offenders is easy pretty much to have a conversation and get that person into rehab possibly. A lot of times though, our first offenders don't feel like they are that bad off, okay? So, but I'm big on rehab. I try my best to get them in there. I've had a lot of success with people that's went to rehab, and I've also had some failures. The last couple of weeks has been rough on me. I've had a couple that failed, and they went to jail. When I tell you, it's either rehab and you complete it and you do well and you utilize the tools in which you've been given, I mean it. If you don't, if you go to rehab and you fail, you leave, you don't do what you're supposed to do to stay out of trouble, you go to jail. It hurts me as much as it probably hurts mom and dad or sisters or brothers or anybody else out there that has been with you on that journey. But I'm telling you, and I know our jails is full of people that's into the drugs, and it's a terrible situation because I had 28 years in corrections. I know what that's like, being piled up in beds, and it's mostly our drug addicts. But I'm getting cards and I forget what they mean. But and I also utilize, I'll tell you this too, we utilize community service, and I'm done. I got
Can y'all hear me without the mic? Yeah. Wonderful. You know me, Krista. I'm using my coaching voice. So, my name's Don Kitzmiller. I'm a candidate for Division II Magistrate. A little bit about myself real quick. I'm a retired trooper with 26 years of service, retired as a major, chief of staff. I am a guy that believes in second chances for folks. As Judy talked about, I would be willing to implement the programs available to our courts. And I'll probably get introduced to that from the judges at some point. But just there is a need. The drugs are an issue. Fentanyl's an issue. Meth. So whatever we can do to educate these folks, these offenders out here, to maybe not reoffend. So that's just my message. Thank you.
All right, I'm a loud voice guy. I don't need a microphone. It comes back from the coaching. My name's Eric Smith. I'm a 7-year United States Marine Corps veteran. Currently a school bus driver for here in Taylor County. A little bit about myself other than that is I deal with kids and family members on a daily basis, whether it was in the military or, you know, driving a school bus or my other job, I do security. I believe in second chances wholeheartedly. Good people make bad decisions, ultimately results in showing up to a magistrate or even worse, a circuit judge. Whether we're putting them in a rehab, community corrections, that stuff as a community, as a judicial system, as a sheriff, we have to work together. I believe in community service, service above self. I was taught in the Marine Corps, honor, courage, commitment. Those are still morals that I live by today. But I tell you one thing, I'm going to do it. I'm all for making Taylor County the best county in West Virginia. No offense to any other county, I love my county. I love Flemington, whether it's Hepzibah, Grafton, Hayman, Thornton. They're one big county. We're one happy community. So whether we, put them in jail, as a multiple offender, that's going to happen. Do I believe in the second chances? Yes. But I'm going to treat every single one of them with the honor, the dignity, whether it's your first offense or 20th offense. I'm going to show you the respect that you're going to show me. My name's Eric Smith, Marine Corps veteran, Division II candidate.
I don't have a coaching voice, but I am long-winded. So I have my notebook here that coincidentally says, there is no elevator to success, you have to take the stairs. The story of my life. I think we're all here because we want to improve the quality of the lives in Taylor County and improve our public safety. So one thing that, if I had the honor of being elected, I really want to look into with our circuit court judges, the drug court program. So West Virginia has a drug court program that is a judicial intervention program. It's funded by the U.S. Department of Justice. All the counties have it except for 10. Taylor, Preston, Barber, and Tucker County are 4 of them. That is all of us that border each other. That program is proven to reduce crime, restore families, save money, ensure compliance, and help citizens be productive in our community. I don't know if there is anything like that in Taylor County going on right now. After hearing everybody speak, it doesn't sound like there's something similar to that. And I don't know why Taylor County doesn't have it. I'm not sure what the process is in advocating to get that in Taylor County when over 40 other counties have it. So that would be something that I would be interested in trying to get here. I think that everybody has said there is a difference between a repeat offender and somebody who makes a bad decision, who does something out of character. And that always has to be considered whenever you are taking testimony and listening to that offense. I didn't even introduce myself, I'm sorry. My name is Bobby Miller, and I'm running for Magistrate Division I. I have 15 experience in the judicial system. I currently work at the Monongalia County Justice Center and the Preston County Courthouse.
Okay, excellent. On to the circuit judgeship. We'll continue on with a similar question, which is involving nonviolent drug offenses. How do you balance that need for punishment with opportunities for rehabilitation, and how can the judiciary, effectively contribute to addressing what happens, the consequences of this crisis on individuals, families, and our community?
Good evening. I want to thank the Ladies Auxiliary for inviting us here. Can everyone hear me? No? Okay, how about now? There we go. All right. I have spent 20 years practicing law in Taylor County. I began at the U.S. Attorney's Office over in Clarksburg as a paralegal, and then I realized that I was really not in the business of law. I was in the business of people. And so I have practiced law here. I had a property practice. I represented criminal defendants, been a special commissioner, wills, deeds, you name it. I've done it. And the thing that I understand is that the drug crisis doesn't happen in a vacuum. Drug addiction is not it doesn't just exist by itself. It is a symptom of something else. And so 12 years ago, I was asked to join the board of the Community Corrections Program, which is our alternate sentencing program. 8 years ago, the court asked me to be in charge, and they made me the president of the Community Corrections Program. And I've had a couple of people say to me, well, why don't you do this, and why don't you do that? And I said, I am in the business of people and gathering resources. And so when you're looking at people, what they want more than anything is to be heard. They want to be listened to. And when you listen, you often find out what is the underpinning of this addiction. There are problems that plague Taylor County like poverty, addiction, we have societal issues that are present, and they exist. Taylor County is a microcosm of the larger world. They exist writ large, and larger cities have dealt with them in different ways. But the key is to listen to people, to be fair to them, to deal with them on an individual basis, and to tap into the resources we have available. I said that bridges aren't just metaphors, if anybody watched the video on the website, and they're not. They exist to help people reach spaces they no longer thought were reachable. And that's what we're doing with community corrections. We're building bridges for people to cross back in to what it is that means to be a productive member of our society.
What's your name?
Allison Clark Appalucci.
Hello, my name is Thomas Hoxie. I am your circuit court judge. I was previously the prosecutor in Barber County for over 6 years. When Judge Moats retired over a year ago, Governor Justice appointed me to replace him, so I've been your judge for over a year now. In looking as a prosecutor and also as your judge and looking at drug offenses and looking at what options we have on day one when they come to me in arraignments. You have to, usually in most cases, they're indicted by a grand jury, and they come to me at arraignment. That's the first time I see it. And at that time, I will usually almost universally ask, if I had you drug tested here today, will you test positive for anything? And at that time, that is their first opportunity to address their drug problem. I have as a duty to uphold the law, and one of that is bond. You cannot commit a crime while on bond. That's a violation of your bond. Using methamphetamine or fentanyl or anything like that is considered a violation of your bond. So they really have two options at that point. And from there, we do have a community corrections program. I utilize it a lot, all the way up to prior to sentencing. And that's utilized to try to have someone address their drug problem. Everyone's presumed innocent until guilty, until they enter a guilty plea. But at that time, prior to them entering a guilty plea or going to trial, they have a great opportunity to address their drug problem. If they don't and they continue to use it, it's a violation of bond, and that's why we also have a balance between punishment and rehabilitation. If you're violating your bond, there's a punishment aspect, and that is to revoke their bond if it continues. Now, the one thing I want to also say with that is saying drug offenses are nonviolent. You talk to an officer, he or she will very much tell you about the violence that is incorporated into drug offenses. Very often you're going to find firearms involved. So this is a very serious matter that our community needs to address, and it is both violent and non-violent offenses at times that we need to look at. Thank you.
Is this a response?
I just have a question.
I have a
Let's hold
question as
that.
well.
We'll pass that. You go back there. Heather's got those questions there. We're almost finished here to get into questions. That's to say, Heather back there's got.
Well, it's really more of a response to what's been said, but it's
Well,
fine.
the response is really for candidates back and forth. If you wouldn't mind, just so we're almost there. We're almost hitting the post today, and then we'll switch into candidate questions. All right, or public questions. Okay, so let's do our 1 minute close. Judy, we'll start with you.
Once again, my name is Judy Schaefer. I am running for Division II Magistrate. I am a lifelong resident of Taylor County. This is home to us. My husband and I have our home out in Flemington. We've been there for years. A little background about myself. Over 29 years ago, I walked into a law firm to take a part-time job. I've never left. They have tried to run me out of different positions over the years, but I eventually just keep moving on. I have worked in almost every aspect of the legal field. I have done criminal defense, criminal prosecution, civil litigation, and domestic law. I'm currently working for a judge in Marion County. I live the system every day. I have zero plans of walking away from it. I hope you'll let me be your next magistrate.
Okay. I am Sue Guthrie. I'm running for re-election for Division I. I am a proven leader. I have 28 years of experience in corrections, and that 20 of those years I was in a supervisory capacity of some sort. That taught me a lot about people, how to handle people, how to deal with people, how to work with people, bringing the best out of people, and unfortunately seeing the worst in some people. I've got the experience. I've been your magistrate for 5 years, or almost 5 years now, and I've dealt with the criminal side of them. I've sent them up to Judge Hoxie. I don't think that there's times that I've kind of worked it so they get into rehab prior to getting up to his office. So hopefully by the time and I'm done. But I appreciate your confidence in me, and I hope that you'll re-elect me for the next 4 years.
Again, my name's Don Kitzmiller. A little bit about myself. I entered the law enforcement world at the age of 19 with the Taylor County Sheriff's Department. I make a joke of this. I made a joke with Fred about this, making $5 an hour in 1988. I wasn't paying a whole lot of bills at that time. So we went to, I enlisted in the West Virginia State Police in 1992, retired in 2018, again as a major. Some of the things about me: I'm married. My wife is currently working in Charleston. She is going to retire at some point. I don't know when, but and move back up here with me. I've been involved with the youth of the community. When I came back here, I started coaching. Coached at Grafton High School for the football team as a volunteer assistant for a while until 2021. I'm currently missing a track meet tonight down in Winfield because of our girls are down there throwing. But I'm currently a coach for the girls track team at Grafton High School. So I would appreciate your vote on May 14th. Thank you.
Again, my name's Eric Smith. I'm running Division II Magistrate, United States Marine Corps veteran, again, 7 years. A little bit about myself. I have 2 wonderful daughters. One's in Fairmont State. The other one is a 8th grader, soon to be Bearcat at Grafton High School. Actually, one's playing softball right now. You know, I'm also a coach for the girls basketball team and softball. I do a lot of announcing for the Bearcats. A little bit about my background. After I left high school, of course, I thought it was my duty to serve the country and the community and the county of Taylor of West Virginia. I went to the Marine Corps. got out, became a supervisor at a very large concrete factory north of Philadelphia, about 178 employees. Took that role in fairly quick. Once I moved back here in 2009 with my family, took a job with the Board of Education, and been driving the school bus ever since. So I see the kids on a daily basis, the good side of them and the bad side of them. So as a public figure, I'm not asking, I want to continue my service, and just in a different role. I love the youth, anywhere from the youth up to our veterans, up to our elderly. Again, my name is Eric Smith, Division 2 candidate. Hopefully, May 14th, come check my box.
Again, my name is Bobby Miller, and I'm running for Division 1 Magistrate. I have 15 years experience in the legal field. For 8.5 years, I was the paralegal with the Department of Health and Human Resources, BCSC, and I am in the middle of my 8th year working for family court for Monongalia and Preston counties. I prep all half of the domestic violence protective orders for those 2 counties, and we have a lot. We've talked about the drug epidemic, and that is responsible for a lot of that violence, but so is alcoholism. And I think every law enforcement officer here and a lot of the people sitting up here will agree that a lot of times alcoholism is swept under the rug, but it contributes to a lot of violence and a lot of crimes. So let's just be aware of that. I do have 2 sons. My youngest is a Grafton High School senior. We went prom shopping this evening. That was not fun. My oldest is 22. It would be a pleasure to serve you. I felt very convicted to run in Division 1 so that you, the people, would have an option. So thank you for your time.
So, as I said earlier, my name is Allison Clark Appalucci. I'm a 7th generation Taylor Countyan. I graduated from Grafton High School in 1997. I am a stakeholder in the community, and I think that it's really critical that folks realize while we're talking about these very overarching issues of criminal activity and drug usage, 80% of the court's docket is actually child welfare cases. That is the rank and file of what makes up the day-to-day work of the Taylor County Circuit Court. I'm the head guardian ad litem. I am the one who does child advocacy in Taylor and Barber County. I have more cases on my caseload than anyone else, and I will tell you that intervention at a young age and addressing these issues when they are nascent, when they are beginning, when they are something that can be addressed is really critical. I would love it if you would take a look at my website, AllisonForJudgeWV.com, and you will find me on the ballot, Division 2, and I will be number 2. And I would really love it if you would consider me as an option on May 14th. It is a nonpartisan election. All the folks up here will have our signs gone and out of here because you will see none of us at the generals.
There's really 3 things I want you to remember when you're going to go and vote in this election. First, I have a proven track record. I have made thousands and thousands of decisions as both a prosecutor and as a judge that have affected the lives of citizens, all citizens in Barber and Taylor County. I strongly believe in making common sense decisions based upon the law. Furthermore, I'd highlight that I've been endorsed by the West Virginia Sheriff Association PAC and the West Virginia Troopers Association. They've worked with me for many years, and they've been able to see me make fair and just decisions. Second, I want you to remember that criminal law experience matters. I have done hundreds and hundreds of felony cases. I have done some of the smallest felony cases all the way to the most complex felony cases. You want a judge that has that foundation in criminal law. Last, jury trial experience matters. I have tried some of the biggest and hardest jury trials that any attorney has tried. Murder, child sexual assault, rape, kidnapping. You want a judge that has jury trial experience, and I'm an experienced trial attorney. I'm running here today because I want to improve our community, and I've done that as a prosecutor and as a judge. I appreciate your vote on May 14th.
Say start moving away, so if I get some distance. Yeah, awesome. You guys can have a seat. Thank you. All right, excellent. Round of applause for all of the candidates. We have made it. We're through the portion that was scheduled from previous questions that we had collated, and we do have some questions to cover, 3 tonight in kind of this bonus time. But some of you may only schedule 6 to 8. I've sold different times, 6 to 8:30. We're going to run for another about 20 minutes to cover these community questions, and so many of you submitted. Thank you for that. I do want to make a point, just a small point, for those of you who traveled. By the way, thank you for those who have traveled long and far to be here from a candidate perspective, and even from the audience, and even those who just came down the road, across the street, or over the hill. But if you weren't from here, you would think this is a terrible place to live, because all we're talking about is drugs and challenges and all that. I can assure you, this is a fantastic community full of great people and massive opportunities, and a really cool place to be. But we have our challenges. And just inevitably, when you ask what kinds of questions for politicians you're going to get, how are you going to fix my road, right, or my problem? And in this case, we have a huge problem of those 3 issues around economic vitality, the houselessness, and the opioid epidemic. So just thought I need to say that for all of us, because it's a good place to be. All right, so let's jump into questions. So what happened, and thanks to Heather back there, collated. We had a lot of questions come in, but as you would have it, a lot of those questions came together into kind of one. And I don't know exactly how this is going to go. So this is where grace abounds, and we'll just kind of be as flexible as we can. I'm going to ask for you, instead of people moving and shuttling back and forth, I might feel Donahue. I don't know. We'll see if you can speak loud enough. We'll try that, okay? The first question goes back to vapes. There's a big hot button on here, and this really kind of is directed more towards the sheriff and the board. Everybody doesn't need to talk if you appreciate that. We'll be here all night. But it really is, and somebody mentioned, all the students that are expelled from GHS, from GHS right now over THC vapes, and the challenges, mentioned, we all hate it, but how, as a board or a sheriff, how are we going to eliminate this vaping problem, or at least mitigate this vaping problem? Okay, Melissa, we'll start with you. I don't know whether you speak and see if they can hear you. You stand up, yeah.
First off, we do have a great county to live in. Alex is right. But I want everyone to know, it isn't just Taylor County that's having this problem. We are every county, you can go and talk to every county that surrounds us, every county in the state. We are not going to be immune to the problems that the state is also seeing. So Harrison County, Marion County, Mon County, guarantee you, I know for sure, I've talked with a few other board members in other counties, that they are seeing some of the same issues that we are. So we need to really collaborate together. We need to work with the sheriff's department. We need to work with other counties and the state to see what can we do to eliminate the problem. But education is key. We need to help our kids understand what damage it does to their body before they start vaping. And I told you 90 seconds is hard for me.
That was 30 seconds. All right, but I think the question is, what? What are we going to do? I think people are looking for specifics, like what can we do?
She texted me everything to say after that. So, the biggest thing is that the education. We already talked about that. What we've got to do in the schools and all of that. But we are working with law enforcement on this on a minute basis, not a daily basis, a minute basis. And we're literally, and you guys are saying GHS, but what you don't understand, and I said this earlier, this is coming lower and lower. It's getting younger and younger. And if we don't get a hold of this, which we are, it's only going to get worse. And I think that we are battling this. Our biggest thing is just educating and moving forward with this, taking care of it.
I like to take
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Here, I'll tell you. Get a hold of your representative. Get a hold of your state senator. Get a hold of your governor, okay? What we've done as a state is we've taken things like THC and we made it legal. That stuff comes from China. We don't know what it is anyway. It should be illegal. We use it as a revenue source in the state of West Virginia so that we say we have this abundance of money. Truth is, it come here, it was voted here, it can leave here by simply voting it out of here.
Okay, yes, thank you, 30 seconds.
I want to say, as an educator for almost a quarter of a century, that I hear what everybody has said here today. Feed the kids, house the kids, we inoculate the kids, we try to keep drugs out of their hands. But ultimately, guess what our goal is? to teach him to read, to teach him some math, to teach him some science, technology, engineering. And so we need everybody in here to take some of that responsibility. Yes.
Listen, any other, Matt, 30 seconds.
I just say that the drugs is one problem. We have many problems in our schools, and the teachers need to be empowered to take control of the schools, take control of the children, because a lot of them are out of control. And I'm not trying to bash anybody that's in there, but we need teachers that can control their classrooms and control the schools, and the school board has to be behind them to give them that ability.
Okay. Like I said, one thing at the federal level, and I'm not a big regulation guy, but everybody in here, I'm assuming, has some level of internet, whether it's on your cell phone or whether it's in your home. I'm a cybersecurity engineer. I have grandchildren. I have children. And there is a way this can be stopped, but it has to be stopped possibly at the state level, possibly at the federal level. Is we have to hold these internet service providers. They're just like any other retail corporation. They rely on consumers for them to make money, okay? So what we do is we go to them and we pass legislation and say, you must give the consumer an opt-in capability. Because if you do not want your children to have pornography come into your home, and you do not want children to see what's going on with drugs, I know you're stepping closer, is we get legislation to protect the consumer. It's about consumer protection. And you make sure those internet service providers give that to you and shut that access off to pornography and drugs so that it's not glamorized in society.
Perfect. Okay, good. 30 seconds.
I would like to say that if I am elected to the legislature, I would vote for the Safe Classroom Act, which allows teachers to remove students from their classrooms that are disruptive. In addition to that, I would like to expand aids in the classroom. That gives our teachers another set of eyes. It gives them another opportunity to spend time with your children. I would vote for both of those bills if elected.
Any other comments on the solutions to vaping? Clark?
I'm over here.
Let's get Clark first, and you're up. Yep.
Sure. Getting the drug task force back, full-time deputies and scientists, and also get education back in schools with drug classes and so forth. So when I was much younger, I was a teacher, and I was in kindergarten through 8th grade. But it really gives you perspective being a teacher and a parent. And these kids need activities to do after school. And I thought of, why don't these kids all have apprenticeship requirements before they graduate high school, so they get attached to a farm or a business or law enforcement where they have something to do after school. And, you know, it goes back to the jobs. There aren't jobs for these kids to go and work after school. And I can remember, and I hate to say this, we're not making our kids competitive with the Chinese and the Germans, and we really need to focus on STEAM and STEM.
That's awesome. I feel like Jaws, you know, coming through the water. All right, last response.
It's got to start from who's getting it for the kids. The vape shops have got to be closed down.
Yeah.
The vapes that the people are buying and supplying to the kids, those people that it's supplied to the kids, the sheriff and the city police have got to put their foot down, and the magistrates and judges have got to throw the book at them. It's got to start with the people that are buying it for the kids, because that's where it needs to end.
Agreed. So we have two more questions. This one, again, many of these were come from multiple things. This is really towards the county commission. Several versions of this says basically it was said that it isn't the role of government to take on economic development, but private businesses. And if that's true, what is the county commission or the EDA, the Economic Development Authority, which is funded by the commission, doing to attract those businesses? So I'll open it up to the county commission. I can answer it.
I mean, what the EDA does, what the county commission does, we're there to support any businesses that are interested in coming out. We're there looking for businesses to come to Grafton, but we're not going to run your business for you. We're not here to micromanage anything. We're here to support you, but you've got to have the initiative and the want and the need to come here and find an opportunity. There's opportunity here. It has presented itself on many occasions, and we have done with the EDA and the commission on a lot of recruitment. We've done feasibility studies. We've done a lot of things to try to recruit people into it. But it's not always successful, but we're going to keep trying. So I'm ready.
Red card. All right, any other answers to, oh, 30 seconds.
We gotta put out the welcome mat. We gotta put out the welcome mat. You've got to reach out into other areas to try to solicit these business. Again, the coal company needs lots of supplies, lots of different things. Yeah, we can't go in the business ourselves, but we can encourage business-minded people and business-minded young people coming out of high school to look at going into business themselves, because that's where it starts.
Okay. Any other responses on? Okay, the next question is maybe the last one. We could get more, but this had several in this. This is the concept. We've talked a lot about the drug epidemic, but this, what kind of solutions do we have in place for support for folks with addiction after punishment? What's happening in our community to support folks with addictions that want help? And so that's really directed at judicial and at the local offices, the sheriff potentially, so I'll open the floor.
That's not exactly what I asked.
Well, why don't you go ahead and just deliver your question, right?
I'm just curious when I hear about people, I'm all for accountability, but I'm wondering, we're sending people back out into systems that are most likely designed to fail. And they come back out and they've gotten clean, and now they're going to become, the cycle's going to repeat because there's nothing in place to help them. So what is here in Taylor County to support them once they've cleaned or once they've served their time, or even if they've been given the one chance that people talk about? You cannot gel away addiction. There has to be more to it than that. So if they've been given this one opportunity, let's say they do have a second opportunity because they come back before you because they failed, but there was nothing in place to help keep them free of drugs or to help a job or what have you. What systems are in place to help them?
Yeah, you did say that way better than me. Okay, sum this up.
All right. A lot of the rehabs, most of the rehabs, I will say, that I send my people to, okay, they go from, their initial intake, their treatment, they go into sober living, they go on to, they'll get them a job, they set them up and get them, like housing, and they will, give them all the tools in their toolbox to succeed. Now, it's a lot up to that individual to utilize it, okay? So, the programs out there is
So there are
amazing.
programs in Taylor County.
There's none in Taylor County, but I'm adamant about getting them away from the area in which they have problems in too. They can't come back into the same old.
Okay, 30 seconds.
I'm going to throw it out here real quick. First of all, infrastructure in the state. We need water and sewer operators. You can do training right outside of high school. That would be one thing to look at. There's another program in the state called Jobs for Hope. It's working over in Hardy County. They bring people in who've had addiction, have problems. They're working them through programs. And I think, again, for people who are small business owners, we have to be willing to open up our doors to people who've made mistakes. That's
Okay.
second chance.
We'll come back here. Don?
Addiction's not an easy problem. Folks that go to rehab, they've probably been to rehab 6 or 7 times.
I'm aware that I'm not criticizing.
No.
I heard so much about this side.
And that's what the people need to understand with the folks with addiction. It's not a one-time thing. They're there 5, 6, 7 times going to a rehab facility, and then it may click with them and work with them. But that's all I have to say about that.
And I just want to say again, of course, I'm going to say that getting people access to land, to nature, to purpose. I have had tragedies in my life where my best friend from high school lost her son, and other people. I called Senator Capito's office, and the young person I spoke with had just lost a friend, and that was someone in one of our communities in West Virginia. But I met a young man who works with Refresh Appalachia, which is a program that is trying to change the conversation, get us producing our own food here in West Virginia. And this young man was an addict, and now he's clean, and now he's focused on growing good food for other people that creates economic development with the resources that we have here. I mean, I'm not dissing commodity farmers, and the man's getting closer, so I'm saying we gotta grow food. He's talking.
Awesome, thank you. Allison.
I just want to say, I don't want people to think that we are not just in a food desert, but that we're in a resource desert. Taylor County does have resources. We have AA, we have NA, we have Celebrate Recovery. All of those resources are within Taylor County as well as Barber County. When folks need help, there are numbers they can call, there are people that they can contact through the department, and they will link them to those services. I can tell you that the reason that there are recovered addicts is because people do recover, but they have to be able to have those tools in place.
Awesome.
Real brief, just to clarify, and it's an issue that I think we need to raise so everyone knows. When I sentence someone to prison, and they go to prison, the court sentences them to not less than 1, not more than 15 years in prison for selling, let's say, selling meth. That's the penalty. If they go to prison, it's now out of the court system. I lose jurisdiction. The parole board is will make the decision whether they will release them in 1 year or in 7 years or whenever. That's their decision. The DOC is also the Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the DOC and the parole board. That is an issue that the legislature probably needs to look at, is when we are releasing inmates, what's happening, what services. So the DOC is one I would encourage the legislators to look at and see, because the court can't do anything about it once they go to prison.
One thing I want, everybody's heard of how many of expulsions the Board of Education has had just this year. But I want everyone to know, when we expel a child, we are not just pushing them out of our schools and not caring about them at all. We have an after-school alternative learning center. When the kids and the parents come to us, we do lecture those children, but we lecture them with love. And we show them the way that we want them to go, and we promise them that we will be there to hand them their diploma. When they are in that after-school alternative learning, we keep tabs on them. We give them personalized service through our superintendent to bring them back to us and say, how are your grades? How are your grades? What are you doing? And we keep very close tabs. We just don't push them out of the school. We still educate them. That is our job.
Awesome. Yep. All right, I've got the last one on this topic, Eric.
Yeah, so what you asked was, we do have good programs. We have some really bad programs that haven't worked. We need to get rid of those, but we need to focus more on the ones that have worked. Unfortunately, we do have, the HHR program or stuff like that, but we do have to outsource a little bit. I do believe that, recovery is a big issue. Okay, it's just not a judicial system or a sheriff's office or Board of Ed. It's a whole county issue. So one office isn't going to do it by itself. We have to come together as a group, as one unit, to make this county better.
Awesome. All right, excellent. So that pretty much concludes this, but I want to conclude with gratitude again. First of all, thank you. I know we've had a little bit of fun with the time and those things. These issues are serious issues. They're in our community in a major way, and that's why we're talking about them. So I appreciate the ability to be serious and also have a little fun with it. I also am really grateful for the audience. You guys have done a great job tonight, so applause to the audience, both here and online. And I would say this, I would leave you with feedback. Obviously this is our republic if we can keep it, and so it is up to us to bring the right representation to bear for our needs. But feedback is really important. So feedback for this event at Unleash Taggart, we'd love to hear how this could be better next time. We tried a lot of new things, but I will tell you, every one of these candidates, I can speak for each one of them. When I interview and ask them, what can the citizenry do? They immediately say, call me, talk to me, reach out. So if you have feedback, you want to go into any of these issues or anything else, they're out there, they want you to call them, right? I mean, that's really it. Okay, so with that, I want to thank the Ladies Auxiliary for sponsoring this. The senior Center for allowing us to have this venue, which is fantastic. Thank you. And again, to the candidates and everyone else, thank you for your seat.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Great.